PrimeTime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Ahead of Remembrance Day, the Lloydminster Comprehensive High School held a school-wide virtual ceremony to commemorate Canadian soldiers. Richard Dixon is a local veteran, and he was a featured guest at LCHS for their virtual Remembrance Day ceremony. He hopes he can remind the younger people why this day is so significant.
Not only needs to know to remember, but they need to know who these men and women were of great character and Canadian soldiers that gave their life or that come back home physically or mentally injured, and their stories of who they were and why they lived and how they gave their lives.
Next week, students at the Lloydminster Public School Division don't have class, so they took time to hold a Remembrance Day ceremony. This year, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they held this ceremony virtually to avoid the spread of the virus.
Set up with a backdrop, it will all be live streamed, and our students will be watching from their Block 3 classrooms with their teachers. Every student in the school received a poppy this morning, and we will do a candle lighting ceremony. Each classroom has candles, so each classroom will light candles sort of as part of the ceremony so that everybody feels like they're part of what's going on.
They also want people to realize that not all veterans are ones who fought in World War II, but are currently sacrificing their life for our country.
It's not just remembering or etching their name in stone as a way to pay respects. The young men and women and all Canadians need to understand why we were there, why these men and women fought, and why they gave their lives and how they gave their lives. Because their life wasn't a random act of violence or a splash of misfortune. These men and women voluntarily put themselves in harm's way to defend other people.
The school also highlighted former LCHS alumni who served in the military. Welcome back. Breeders around the prairies are gathering at the Lloyd X, grateful for the opportunity to show their cattle this season. Eric Bay reports.
COVID-19 has stopped Canadian cattle shows except for Lloydminster's Stockade Roundup, which continues this week. Room capacity is being monitored and masks are required in the show ring, but even with the added measures, breeders are happy to have some face-to-face competition this fall.
You have lots of competition, which is great. It's nice to have lots of your peers out showing their cattle along with you, and it helps you see how you compare to your other counterparts in the industry.
The Lloyd X spent months preparing for the Stockade Roundup, noting the importance of bringing producers together.
That's how this whole industry is built. So on relationships and making connections. So we've worked really hard to allow for that to still happen as safe as possible. So masks are required in the show ring area, and so yeah, our team is working hard to keep everyone safe and still have some fun.
The Roundup will be used as a blueprint by the X as they continue to adapt to COVID restrictions and try to host more events.
We're really excited for an awesome week of shows and yeah, just having some activity because that's what this place was built on and will continue to be built on as time goes on. So yeah, COVID's not going away, and so we're just learning to manage and have new strategies in place so we can continue to have events here and keep everyone safe while doing it.
This year's Stockade Roundup finishes Saturday and is the first large event the X has hosted since the pandemic began. Eric Bay, PrimeTime Local News.
Now we'll take a look at your egg prices. The Brooks Bandits have had 7 players drafted to the NHL. Most notable from that group is 2020 Calder Trophy winner Cale Makar. The 2021 NHL draft could see another Bandits player join that group. Evan Kenny has more in this week's Around the AJHL.
Joining me today for his second time on Around the AJHL is Brooks Bandits assistant coach Taylor Macon. Taylor, thank you for joining me. Now, Taylor, the NHL and NHL Central Scouting released a preseason ranking for some of the prospects coming up in the 2021 NHL draft. On that list, given an A rating, was one of your defensemen, Corson Kuhlman's. I guess, first of all, Taylor, can you just tell me a little bit about Corson, and are you surprised that he got the rating he did?
Yeah, Corson, he's turned a lot of heads in his young career so far, especially at the NHL level, which is awesome for him. And I'm not overly surprised, no, at the notoriety he's got. I mean, he's big, he's fast, he's skilled, he can shoot, he can think the game. So, and he can shoot right and play the back end. So when NHL GMs are looking for top end talent, he kind of checks all the boxes, and he brings a lot to the table, not only for us, but I'm sure for some team in the future. He can control the pace of the game when he's out there. So he definitely is deserving of all the accolades he's got so far.
And of course, the last defenseman to come out of the Brooks organization with, this amount of hype was Cale Makar. Obviously, it's tough to follow up in those footsteps, as Makar was this year's Calder Trophy winner. But do you think that Kuhlman's has the potential to possibly get to that level?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't have a glass I can look into and see what's going on in the future. I don't think a lot of people would have predicted Cale would have had the type of success he had when he was here at 17. So it's hard to say, but I know Corson has a lot of the same qualities on the ice and off the ice as Cale. He works hard in the gym. He's an absolute beast in there. He's very, very competitive. He doesn't like anyone doing more reps or doing more weight than he does in the gym. And then on the ice, I think they're sort of similar, but kind of different. I think Corson brings a little bit more grit, a little bit more of a harder style play to his game than Cale. But yeah, very cool to have another, top prospect on the back end here in Brooks.
Now, Taylor, let's just touch on some of the WHL players that the Brooks Bandits have added to your organization. Now, teams all over the league are adding WHL players, but you guys got two pretty special ones in Jake Neighbors and Ozzy Weisblatt. Can you just tell me what this addition means to the team?
And it's been cool having them around for our guys, which has been awesome to see two first-round guys, going and showing us, our younger guys, how to, kind of go about their day-to-day business, which has been nice.
What do these two players bring to the ice day in and day out?
The just work ethic, I think, is one of the biggest things I've noticed. Jake's one of the hardest working guys on the ice, and as well as Ozzy, and they both bring just a different look. Guys here don't really get a chance to be around top prospects like that until they move on to the NCAA. So I think just seeing their the way they come to the rink every day, focused, prepared, and looking to get better is big for our guys.
Taylor, touching on the whole team in general, you guys are 6-2 throughout exhibition play, taking on first the Okotoks Oilers and then the Drayton Valley Thunder. Just what have you thought of the team so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good start. Our first 6 games were against Okotoks, who is, a very, very good opponent. They really tested us through those first 6 games. And I thought our guys responded really well. We played hard, we played fast, and we were able to, get 5 out of 6 victories against them, which I think going into that series, we weren't really expecting that or had that as a goal in mind. But I think to be able to win 5 out of 6 against a team like that, really gives you a lot of confidence moving forward. And then we had the split against Drayton Valley last weekend, where I think we learned a lot about ourselves. I think Friday night, we came out hard. We played our game. We played fast. We played with effort and pace, and were successful. And then the next night we came out and we tried to be a skill team and, a team that we'll win no matter what. And they kind of took it to us and they got the victory. So I think we learned a lot that we're not as good as we think we are, especially after, winning 5 of 6 against Okotoks. So it was good to kind of get a little taste of reality and be, kind of bring us back down and get us refocused for sure.
And final question now, Taylor, is I guess just from the coaching staff perspective and the team as a whole, do you guys have some expectations set out for this season?
Yeah, I think here in Brooks, I think every year the expectation is a championship, and that's been laid out since day one at camp for our guys, and then for us as a staff that, you know, every year we're coming in here and our expectation is to win and to win a lot. So I don't think anything has really changed in that regard. And, you know, all the guys, especially our returning guys, are do a great job of delivering that message throughout the group to everyone that this is the expectation is a championship, and anything short of that is just unacceptable. So we've been working towards that for the last like 2-3 months now.
Taylor, it was a pleasure getting to chat with you once again. This was Taylor Macon from the Brooks Bandits.
Awesome. Thanks, Evan.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. Looking at temperatures right now, still sitting at 5 degrees right now, with 7 degrees out in Edmonton right now, 9 in Red Deer with 8 in Rocky Mountain House. We are starting to see a little bit cooler temperatures, as we could see that in the next couple of days or so. But right now, 3 degrees out in Jasper, 1 degree in Edson right now, and we see 0 up in Cold Lake, 5 also right now in North Battleford, and then we see 2 in Saskatoon, and then -4 in Prince Albert, and then -5 in Melford right now. Now, of course, northern, as we talked about earlier in the weather segment, northern areas are getting some of that rain and snowfall warnings as well. So areas like in the Lalash and Buffalo Narrows area, we could see that starting to happen tonight. -7 though for them in that area. -8 in Lorange, -11 out in Walston Lake and in South End as well. -13 in Rainham City, and then -14 in Stony Rapids. -11 in Fort Chipewyan right now as we look at northern Alberta. -6 in Fort McMurray, and then 2 degrees in Slave Lake, with -2 in Peace River, and then Grand Prairie sitting at 4 degrees. Now, as we look at southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, those are going to be the big points to watch this weekend, as of course they are going to be being hit with lots of snowfall and blizzard-like conditions. 15 in Lethbridge though currently right now, with 17 in Medicine Hat, then 7 degrees in Calgary, and then Banff fairly cooler than the rest of the pack there, sitting at 3 degrees, and then 8 down in Coronation, 17 in Swift Current. We see we see a few 20s here in southern Saskatchewan, 20 in Moose Jaw and Regina and Estevan as well. 18 degrees in Yorkton right now, and then 10 in Kindersley, but of course that's going to change come this weekend. Now, as we look across the rest of the country, we see 8 degrees in Winnipeg, 8 also we see in Quebec City, lots of cloud coverage emerging in the areas there. 17 right now in Toronto, -1 in St. John's right now. As we look over into the west now, of course I did talk about on the satellite radar map, Edmonton seeing some showers, possibly some rain snow mixes coming along their way within the next little bit in the next couple of hours. But 11 in Vancouver right now, -11 up in Yellowknife with some flurries coming down, and then -17 in Whitehorse right now. Now, as we look at for tomorrow, 2 degrees will be our daytime high. We will see a little bit of a chillier day with that wind chill, could be more so in the minuses, but looking at Vermilion, 2 degrees as well, -1 up in Cold Lake and Bonnyville and Pierceland as well, -2 up in Lac La Biche, 1 degree in Vegreville tomorrow, and then 1 degree in Edmonton, 5 down in Provost, 6 for Macklin, and then we also see 5 degrees in North Battleford as well, 3 degrees in Maidstone, with 1 in Meadow Lake and St. Walburg as well. Then up north, Isle of Cross sitting at -4 as well. Now, as we look at the next 7 days here, -2 on Saturday. And of course, we could see some of that snow starting around that later Friday evening going into Saturday morning. We could see about up to 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, and then maybe a bit more, a few centimeters, about 2 to 4, but that's more so of scattered flurries throughout the day on Sunday. -9 on Monday, with more snow possibly coming on Tuesday. We could see maybe 2 centimeters there. -9 on Wednesday, and then -9 again on Thursday. That's a look at your 7-day forecast for now. We'll have more prime-time local news coming up after the break.
I'm joined today with Major Bond Jennings from the Lloydminster Salvation Army. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
You're quite welcome.
So today I wanted to talk about the Christmas Kettle campaign that's going to be starting up soon. For people who don't know that much about it, just tell me a little bit about the Christmas Kettle campaign.
It's for the Salvation Army. It's probably for the local ministry units in communities. It's the major fundraising campaign of the Salvation Army for the year. It's a campaign that started in 1891 in San Francisco. A Salvation Army officer there felt the need to help people, and he started with putting out like a red pot to collect money. And in 1903, it started in Canada, in Toronto. So it's been going on now for almost 130 years. And like I say, it's our major fundraising campaign for the year. It not only helps us to provide for families at Christmas, but it also provides necessary finances to help us get through the rest of the year.
So for this year's campaign, when is it going to start, and where will the kettles be located here in the city?
We're starting on the 21st of November, and they're located at Sobeys, Walmart, Safeway, the Lloyd Mall, Superstore, and the Co-op store. And because of COVID, like most every other business and organization, we've made some changes. We're only doing 6 hours a day at most locations from volunteers with the public. And we're taking the necessary precautions to have available for our volunteers mask, gloves, and sanitizer, wipes to wipe down the machines, and the necessary things to make sure everybody is safe.
So for people who don't have just spare coins and cash in their pocket, are they still able to donate?
Yes, we're going to have debit machines at each location, but also this year we have a tip and tap machines that will be located where people have an option of 3 different amounts, $5, $10, or $20, that they can just tap their cards and donate that way. So there won't be as much coin and cash flow if people want to do it that way.
Obviously, this year with the pandemic going on, it posed some challenges for you guys, just having to adjust some of the ways that you do the kettle program. Are you expecting maybe more of a demand from people needing support from the Salvation Army this year?
Yes, we are. We did 450 hampers last year. We prepared 450. We didn't give them all out, but it was close. This year, we're doubling that amount. We're going to be preparing for 900. Whether we get those numbers or not, we'll still have the hampers to give out to people after Christmas, but we are preparing for 900. We are seeing roughly 5 to 10 new families, individuals per week. So we're thinking because of that, yeah, we need to be ready. And so we're getting things ready for that.
Does the Salvation Army need any more volunteers during this time?
Well, especially for our kettles, we certainly will need volunteers. We don't know how the previous year's volunteers will want to face the doing that out in public. So we're certainly going to be needing, even though we're cutting down our number of hours from 10 to 6 hours a day, we will probably need more volunteers. Here at the food bank at our church, we're limiting the numbers of people in our building. We're trying to make sure that we're kept safe so that we can continue on with helping people, because if any of us get sick, we probably going to have to close our doors for a few days, and we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're limiting the numbers of people coming into our building. So a lot of our staff are doing what we had volunteers do in previous years because of that. But for the kettle piece, we certainly do need people that are willing to take we try to do a 2-hour shift, so at each location. So.
And is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't get to talk about yet?
Our goal for this year is 65,000. Last year it was 57, and last year we did $85,000. We went well over our goal. The community of Lloydminster and area were very supportive of us, as they have been ever since last Christmas. Through COVID, this community has been wonderful in their support of us, and organizations, individuals, groups are still coming to our door bringing donations. So it's been fantastic, and I just want to say a big thank you. It hardly seems to be enough to say, but thank you to the community of Lloydminster, the businesses, the organizations, and the people of Lloydminster for their support through 2020. It's been great. So just thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Major Bond Jennings, for taking some time to talk with me today.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, joining us today here on Primetime Local News is country artist Manny Blue. Manny, I know you got a new album coming out called New Ink, so just take us through kind of the creative process and the inspiration behind this second album of yours.
Well, New Ink was an album that I've been wanting to make. An album I've been wanting to make for a while. I think after we had Leave It Like It Is come out and we were touring with it, I wanted something that was a little more representative of the kind of music that I really liked and really got into music for, which was, the sort of rock blues type thing, sort of crossover of genres too. And after putting out Leave It Like It Is and being in Nashville, I realized that there's so many different colors to country music, and there's so many different ways to do it. And so thinking about the project the whole time, kind of leading up to it and what I wanted to do was really, really cool. And it was a really fun process to know we had something out and know we can tour with it and stuff like that. But in the back end of things, actually working on new stuff, which turned out to be New Ink, which is really cool. I just wanted a different sound. I wanted something that was a little bit more how we sound live, and something a little bit more the reason I fell in love with music.
Now, one track in particular on your second album here called Old Money, I know you had a lot of people working on that song. You mentioned also that it was your favorite. So why exactly is it your favorite on this track?
Well, I don't know if I said it was my favorite, but it's definitely, I really like the sound, because the demo sounded exactly what I like, was the perfect example of what I wanted the sound of the record to be. And Aaron Estes, who's the producer, actually was a writer on that song as well. So it's very easy to go to the producer who wrote the song and created the demo and be like, yeah, that sound that you got in this song is what I want for the whole EP. And so I think on that thing, it was really cool. And he had Kristen Rogers, who's Hosier's backup singer, and she crushed it on that song. I didn't even know he was going to get her. He just sent me the song and had her kind of wailing some vocals on the back end of it. And they were just like, I was like, who is this? And this sounds great. This is unbelievable. So it was that song's a lot of fun to constantly play, and it was a fun song to create and kind of make it turn it alive, I guess, or make it come to life.
Now, of course, 2020 has been a very challenging year for many artists, not being able to go out on tour. Just take us through kind of how your 2020 has gone for yourself so far, and what we can expect down the road into the new year from yourself.
Well, we were hoping to be on the road quite a bit this year, but with COVID being present, I was able to really take a back step and a deep dive into really what I want to do moving forward with my music. And I think piggybacking off of New Ink and just like having the conversations about how do we evolve, and how do we make the next stuff sound even better. And I'm really happy with New Ink, so I was just like, I'm down to go through the process of taking a deep dive and maybe working on a bunch of new skills or bettering the skills that I have, and just be creative and attentive and listening, and I think that that was a really good time to kind of backtrack a little bit and really focus and see what we want moving forward.
And lastly, your new album, of course, we mentioned off the top there. When is it coming out, and how can people get a hold of it if they want to?
Yeah, well, so the album New Ink is coming out November 13th, and it's going to be available on all streaming platforms.
Well, Manny, I really appreciate your time, and thanks very much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. 2 degrees tomorrow, then we'll start to see some snow on Saturday there. We could get possibly up to 10 centimeters on Saturday, then a little bit more as well on Sunday, but that's more so of some scattered flurries throughout the days. We could see possibly maybe 2 to 4 centimeters on that Sunday. As we go ahead into Monday, we'll have a high of -9, so it could be fairly cooler as we are going to start to see some, especially in the morning with that -16 to start the day off there. -3 on Tuesday with more snow expected, -9 on Wednesday, and then -9 on Thursday.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.